There are two things that make me absolutely feel old. One is when my friends say, "Tara, dude, let's go to the bar or to the club," because my oh my, when you look around, you really do feel old. But the other thing is the Aito M9, an SUV that wants to give you all the luxury in the world, but with next level intelligent technology. Will someone like me be able to adapt to this? We're gonna find out today. Hey everyone, Vince here from AutoIndustriya, and today we're checking out what could be the most technologically loaded vehicle I have ever driven. The Aito M9 is their flagship luxury SUV, and yes, believe you me, it is luxury, and it is from China, particularly in Chongqing. I just came from there. It was a really hot place, but they wanted to show us how their vehicles are made. In terms of the aesthetics, you can already see it. It is very classy looking. They've got the two-tone look all around the vehicle, like the black or the body-colored front with the silver A-pillars, B-pillars, and the whole roof line there. It's very, very different. If anything, it kind of reminds me of a little bit of Rolls-Royce, maybe a bit of Maybach in terms of what they do. But you can see here, the headlights, very, very unique. By the way, these can project, but I've never figured out how it can project to a screen. I've never really put that part to use, but it does have the ability to project onto a screen. It's full LED, of course. Huge 21-inch wheels. And these are gonna have their work cut out for them working on EDSA, because keeping it comfortable with the wheel size like this is gonna be pretty difficult. Up top, we do have a LiDAR sensor there, or at least a LiDAR package right there on top of the roof. That gives the vehicle the ability to be able to sense what's all around it, even a couple of lanes over. Later when we're driving, we'll show you the B-roll of that. But the vehicle itself, 5.2 meters long. It's huge, 1999 millimeters wide. It's a wide vehicle, and you really have to be careful when you're driving it around. But don't worry, it's got all kinds of safety features to be able to help you along, or maybe even, bug you a bit. Depends on your perspective. But yes, the two-tone look, very classy. But what's also nice are the door handles. It's flush with the body, and if I press it, or actually no, first I have to unlock it because I've got it that way. Once I unlock it, these come out, and then you press this, and it automatically opens. And that's the unique thing about this, at least in terms of the vehicles that I've driven. It's very unique. You press that again, opens that. But what's gonna be great here later, we'll show you more of this, is the rear seat. Because as you can see, that is a different level of interior. More of that in a bit. Now, let's go around the back. What do we see? More of these taillights, very classy touches. And by the way, the taillights on this, you can adjust this, you can set it to different kinds of graphics. Let's say if you were just married, you can have a just married there. If you just had a baby, you can have a baby bottle there. And you can even have fireworks and all that stuff. It's very neat stuff. Now, if you notice, there's still some Chinese characters on both sides of the tailgate. And that's because this is still the kind of, I guess, pre-production unit, or at least pre-internationalized export type of unit. But you do have Aito here spelled out in English letters. What it stands for is adding intelligence to auto. So yes, it's kind of an acronym, abbreviation. It's kind of strange. It feels a bit weird, to be honest, but that's what they're going for, because they're really going for technology as their definition of next generation luxury. Now, let's open the tailgate. Of course, it's a power tailgate. And you can already see the kind of two-tone interior they're going for. This material here, it's, I don't know, carpeting material, but it almost looks purplish, very unique. Now let's look at what else is here in the back. So just below the floorboard, we do have our wireless, or not wireless charger, our slow charger over here. This is the regular charger for the vehicle, for your 220 volt outlet, because this is a range extender EV. This is not a full EV, though the EV is available if you so wish. Also, you can fold down these rear seats by pressing and holding that. If you do that, the space does expand by quite a bit to around 41, like the supported part just to the seat. Oh, you have to hold it a bit more. There you go, gives you a nice flat loading space. So about 41 inches, 41 and then 41.5 wide. So it's a nice and spacious area here in the back if you want to load stuff. So let's close this up and check out what's under the hood. To open the hood, of course, you just pull the lever underneath the dashboard twice. And what's great about it is that when we open it up, it's assisted. So just one touch, it opens up nicely. Now it's got a 1.5 liter turbo gasoline engine, but it's also got 2 electric motors, one in the front, one in the back, making this an all-wheel drive range extender EV vehicle. So essentially, it's a series hybrid, meaning only the motors, the electric motors, can actually propel the wheels, which is critical here in the Philippines given our definitions of EVs and hybrids and all that stuff. But what's also great here is that it has a lot of power, 496 PS, almost 500 PS for a vehicle like this. Of course, it's gonna need all of that because it is a big and heavy vehicle. It's meant to give you the power that you need. But what's really unique here is going to be the air suspension. Yes, it's got many different heights that you can adjust using the screen. It's also got a really good ride, but more on that later. Let's go check out the interior. Without a doubt, if you're looking for a VIP experience, this is unparalleled. And I don't make that statement just amongst other Chinese cars. Even when you compare against the German cars, the British cars, this is next level stuff in terms of the thoughtfulness when it comes to luxury. So let's start with, let's say, visibility. Glass roof up top, you have this nice window here, and you've got your, well, sunshade there, you know, normal stuff there, which is pretty cool. They paid a lot of attention to the sound deadening, so there's a lot of insulation all around. But most importantly, the foam. Like the seats here, they call these the zero gravity 2 seats, and it does conform to the body very well. Very comfortable with the leather upholstery there. And then you've got seat heating, seat cooling, and seat massage. Yes, I have seat massage active now because, you know, why not? It's gonna be enjoyable. Now, for cup holders, yes, you want cup holders, one there, one here. You have a pocket for your phone here, some other stuff. You have a USB-C port, one for either side. You have the controls for your AC because you have a vent up here and a vent over there in the back, and you can control it here. And by the way, you also have this cooler box or a heater box or warmer box. And you can put your drinks in there, and it's even Ceres branded drinks in this one, which is rather nice. So you have controls for your AC, your fan speed, depending on what you want. And you can really chill out here. But what's really cool is that this seat, you know, it's like in the Camry and some other these other executive level cars, you can push down the front seat. You can do it from the switches here. But this one takes it to a different level because if I press this button, what it's gonna do is it's gonna lift that front cushion forward. If you look here, Barney, there you go. It's gonna move that front cushion forward, right? And then gradually fold this down. Sorry for my glasses. Move that down. And then what you end up with is a very complex ottoman. You can put your feet there and really chill out. And if I move my seat forward, which by the way, it's motorized, of course, I can really relax. I shouldn't do that with my shoes there, but you can really relax, put your feet up there and chill out because that's what they do in China. They like to take naps in their cars. So, you know, I guess it's gonna really work. But this one has a coup de grace, and that is when you press this button. Yeah, this one is a classic. See, this is the the movie that was preloaded into the screen. It's Braveheart. And William Wallace is just about to come down and about to give the English a piece of his mind, among other pieces. But you can see here, it's really a projector because if I move my hand here, you can see there, it's like you're watching in a theater, which is really weird. It's not something we expected in a vehicle. And also, this one has something even better. It's got the lounge mode. So once I press that button, what it's gonna do is it's gonna move it to the center, give me more space, and then really recline. And the reason it's moving to the center is because to avoid the wheel well here for the rear wheels. And yes, coupled with a seat massage, this is next level stuff. And if you're still, feeling warm, you can use a third row vent as well. Really chill out. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. Give me a few minutes while I see how Mel Gibson takes down the entire English army. Fantastic as the middle row may be, the third row is actually also nice. Now, I do have this configured to give me a little bit more space here, but not that much more. So it's still giving, the boss here in front. Like, think of me as like the EA of the boss here. Then this will be like, how I would be seated. So still here in the back, it's very nice. You've also got power seat adjustment here. I can recline it there, see? I can slide it forward and back, depending on what I want. Of course, I want the most space, but can't get that here. And in terms of space and the cushioning, also very good. But again, the best seat in the house, right here. Now let's go check out what's in front because there's a lot of tech over there. It's gonna be a little overwhelming. There is no question that Aito went all out when it comes to the interior of the M9. I mean, look at the upholstery. Like what they have here, the liner they have here, you see this on much more expensive vehicles. That very nice velvety suede, not really suede, I don't know what material it is. It's Alcantara-ish, but it's all around the ceiling of the vehicle. And then you have it's a cream colored kind. It looks very nice. Same with the upholstery here, the leather with ventilation for cooling. And by the way, seat massage for the passenger, front passenger and driver. But the front passenger does have a nicer seat, more akin to the one in the back because it has the ottoman here, the leg rest, and you can control it from here. And it has a footrest. Now, let's go through some of the materials here. So the leather all around. Anything you touch is either soft touch, piano black, a screen, more on that later, or this very nice wood that they've got. Even the texturing is very, very nice. If you want charging for your phone, you've got wireless chargers. 2 of them, one here, one here. If you want your car to smell nice, you have perfume right over here, like little vials of perfume there. You can control what fragrance you want in your vehicle through the center screen. There's also a spring-loaded door here that has a USB device, which gives you not wireless Apple CarPlay and not wireless Android Auto, but it gives you the mirroring. You know what? Let me see if I can show that for you now. Open that, searching for nearby devices. It finds the Aito M9. Let me turn down the volume just in case. So it'll soon display here. Central, right? Which there it shows my phone. Let's go to, I don't know what we can go to in my phone. Let's say there, the Waze. So at first, if you notice, it was in portrait mode because my phone was oriented in portrait mode because this is a mirroring function with the Bluetooth. It's not full Android Auto. For your window controls, you do have him here on the driver's side. And unusually, it's push to open the door and then pull to, not to open the door, to open the window and pull to close the window. So it's kind of different. And also the door, it's actually electrical, or I think it's hydraulic or something like that, or pneumatic, because you press this button, it opens that, right? And then you can control it from here. Let me try to control it now. And then let's say I want to close that door. I can from here. It's neat. It's unusual. It's also kind of weird, but when it does do the auto open, it does revert to the last position, which I haven't adjusted the seating position because it's for a much smaller driver. Thank you, Geloy, for adjusting all that. Now, same kind of grills for the speakers here. It's all very nice. It's all very well thought of. You also have a heads-up display over here. See this thing here? That's not a tray. That's a big heads-up display. It's AR. It's augmented reality, and it projects there. It's very unique. It takes a bit of getting used to because the screen itself, this bucket thing here itself, is actually quite big. So it's very different. You also have a monitor here. It monitors you, meaning the driver, if you're drowsy or fatigued and that kind of thing. We'll get into that in a bit. But the controls here, these are the primary controls of the vehicle because there are no buttons elsewhere here, just this. So behind the left stalk is going to be your wiper and also your light controls. Not just like for flashing it, for going to high beam, that kind of thing. For signals, it's all here. And then here on the right side, you have your transmission or drive control. So if you want the PRND, it's all here. Push there for P, and then pull for drive, and then push up for reverse. And it shows you the around view monitor of the vehicle, which is very clear, very crisp, very sharp. It's like, wow, what they have going on here is very, very nice. Now, steering wheel, it is electrical. And one thing I did notice earlier is that when you move it just a little bit, it kind of feels a bit notchy, the motor. It's like it's offering a little bit of resistance, but it doesn't feel like great. So that's the thing with this vehicle. It doesn't feel like great when it comes to the actual steering. But again, if you have a driver doing the driving for you, it's gonna be perfectly fine. And then you have here the volume control. So push, roll it up, roll it down. One weird feature here is that if we press this, it goes into the camera mode. Let me show you. If you look here, it'll drop that camera and say selfie time onto the main screen. Actually, two main screens. There are three. So you have your driver display here, and then you have your central screen here, and you have a passenger screen here. So triple screen. And it takes a lot of getting used to, especially at night, because it can feel a bit bright. So again, going through all this, AC controls here, depending on what you want. So when you open that, you can control all your AC functions here, which is, again, very convenient. There are no physical buttons here. It's all done on the screen. And then we go to this is the home screen, by the way. And then we go to the settings. Here you can adjust everything. Smart scenes, like if you want different wallpaper or the scenes of the vehicle, you can adjust all your ambient lighting, all the other stuff that they put in here, you can adjust here. Display, the driving features here. So these are the 4 different drive modes. To be able to access this quickly, you can use this little crystal here. It rotates. So when you rotate it, it goes to comfort, to sport, and to custom. The sport mode, it's not really super sporty, but it does have a lot of power. But in terms of steering, doesn't really, stiffen up too much when it comes to if you want like sporty handling. Doesn't really give you that. You can't adjust the ride height in this because this does have air suspension. So very low, low, medium, high, and very high. The unique thing here are all the driver features that you have in the vehicle. And let me tell you now, advanced, the term advanced doesn't cut it. This is something else. This one has a level 2 plus driving autonomy, but it really shouldn't be used here in the Philippines because the way they use it in China, and we tested it, it works in conjunction with the map that they have there, and I don't think it's going to work with the map we have here, especially since we don't have our data here. It uses a different series of apps because if you look up here and on the speakers, you'll see Huawei. Huawei doesn't have Google access anymore, so it's not going to work with that. So they have to use a third-party app to be able to use Android Auto. But what's really unique here is the parking assist. Now, what this vehicle does, and we'll show you some B-roll now over from China, is that it is able to park itself valet style, meaning when you pull into a parking lot, you can have the car will scan the area to find you a parking spot, and all you have to do is pick which one you want by pressing it on the screen, and then you can get out of the car and it will park itself like you have your own personal valet. Actually, that's what they call it, the auto valet. This one does have that feature, and let me tell you now, it feels a bit weird at first, but once you see how it works, it actually works pretty well. Just don't use it, like let's say if you're in an SM or something, because it's you're gonna get a lot of honks from the people all around you. Ask me how I know that. There's so much stuff in this car, we can't cover it in one video. We will take hours, and I know already this video is running long. You also got a passenger screen here that I showed you already earlier, but most of the time, especially at night, I just turn it off or set it to the minimum brightness, but I just turn that off because extra brightness in the car, and I'm already light sensitive and I have astigmatism, so I have to kind of account for that. Anyways, let's go take it out for a drive and see how well this feels on our roads. Spending some time with the Aito M9, and you immediately learn a few things. The first one you learn is just how comfortable this vehicle is. Now on EDSA, EDSA, again, my test for a lot of these things is most convenient for me, but it also shows a lot of imperfections in any vehicle. And this one, it shows how good the ride actually is. Now, I do have it in the high ride height setting, as well as comfort. And when you see how gentle it goes over the bumps, over the expansion joints. Actually, right now we're on the smoother part of EDSA, which is kind of weird to say smoother part of EDSA. But once we get on the rougher parts here, let me switch lanes and get on over to, here you go, the bumpier stuff. I'll go over the cat's eyes. Let's see how, see that? It's so gentle. It's more absorbent than your sponge at home, which you use to wash dishes. No, that's a weird thing to say. It's more absorbent than the bed you're on. And this is what you pay for in this kind of vehicle. Like, you go over the cat's eyes here. It's gentle, there's no rattling. It's just absorbing as much of it as it can. And the sound outside is being muffled. A lot of you guys gave me flack for how I reviewed the air suspension on the Nissan Patrol, but this is what I was kind of expecting from it. You know, this kind of absorbent, pliant, you know, it feels like you're just gliding, you're wafting along, however the British would pronounce that. And this is what the Aito M9 gives you. Now, it has to be said though that there are going to be compromises here, and one is handling. Yes, you can use the sport mode in that, but what I'm really talking about is the feel from the steering. There's not much of it, and even then, I can feel like it gets a little notchy, or at least the electric power steering of this gets a little bit notchy when I'm, you know, when you're in traffic, you notice that the way the steering like kind of feels. It's not great, but then again, if you're gonna have a, you know, manong driver do the driving for you while you sit in the back, how I wish that was the case for me, but you know, I don't have a manong driver to be able to do that. But over in China, that's what exactly, you know, I experienced in this vehicle. I was riding in the, you know, the boss seat, the rear right passenger seat. One thing that really does take a lot of learning and I guess understanding in this car is the level of safety. Now, granted, I mentioned like, when we drove this in China, it had the autonomous features, which I'm not going to use in the Philippines because, you know, nothing here follows the norms. But particularly in this vehicle, in our driving scenario in the Philippines or in the cities, with traffic really crazy, motorcycles going left, right, and center, trucks going in and out, people crossing wherever they please, suddenly a dog runs over, trucks cutting into you. The system absolutely goes crazy. And by go crazy, meaning it drives you crazy with all the beeps, the alerts here, like when a vehicle in the back, in the side gets close to you, it'll show an alert here on the screen, giving you, you know, like the precise distance to that person, like that guy now. Really, it's this screen and all the alerts and giving you all the information all at once. It can be overwhelming, and I can see all that happening because even I sometimes feel overwhelmed with all the information that the car is able to, you know, tell. I mean, it can tell that's a motorcycle in front of me. It can tell that's another motorcycle here on my right. Actually, it looks more like a bicycle here on this, but you know, someone on two wheels. It can tell sometimes when it detects a vehicle with a roof rack, it thinks it's a police car with the, you know, with the lights on top. But it's scary accurate actually. You know, if you remember like the Terminator 2 movie, is I see everything. That's what the M9 is actually doing. It's seeing everything with all the sensors in the car. But you know, all the alerts again kind of drive you crazy. You have to understand why it's all there, and it's kind of hard to. You have to go through all the menus here and all the icons to figure it out. It feels like, you know, sometimes when you go through this screen here, all the icons like you have on your laptop, desktop, like I do, with all the files there just scattered all around, you know. But it feels cluttered, which kind of reminds me that. Yeah, you know, you have to take time to adjust all that. I don't know. I think you can adjust, tweak all that to organize it, to make it more, you know, to you. But still, to access any of the functions, you have to go through menus and these, like for example, all these icons. So if you want to access a feature on the go, just kind of you flick it down, and then you're like, which one did I want to move? After spending some time in the Aito M9, it kind of makes me question, or at least ask the question about what is the definition of luxury, or particularly a luxury SUV. Now, for some, it has to be like a 4x4, like a Land Cruiser or an LX600 now, or a Range Rover, or that kind of thing that can go in all kinds of terrain. For some, it's going to be more about like a crossover style ride with captain seats. But for Aito, it's a combination of all of that. Well, maybe not the off-road part, but when it comes to the technology, that's what they're going for. Again, that's their name, adding intelligence to auto. Strange as that name, that acronym-ish abbreviation may sound, that's what they're going for. And it really does shine through. There is a lot of technology, and I would even contend maybe a bit too much. But what luxury really means and what premium really means, it's about where you put your premium on. You know, like in the old traditional sense, luxury would mean you have some expert who has been honed in their craft, you know, making sure that the lines are perfect. You have the Japanese Takumis like of Lexus, making sure all the stitching is perfect, the paintwork is perfect. What I think the real definition of luxury is, at least in my sense anyway, is thoughtfulness. You know, you want things to be thought out for you. It's like having a butler taking care, or having a maid, or having staff to take care of all your needs. You know, it makes you feel like you're being, you know, well cared for. You don't have to think about anything else except going about your day. And that's what a lot of brands have gone for. But Aito is taking it to a new level when it comes to the tech. I don't think I've ever said this before, but this is going to be the first time I've been thoroughly overwhelmed by any vehicle. Meaning overwhelmed by technology. Yes, I've been overwhelmed by so many powerful vehicles that I've reviewed before, but this is the first time that just by sheer amount of technology, I just got so confused with this vehicle, even though I appreciate what they were going for. Again, Aito, adding intelligence to auto, they really added a lot of intelligent technology to make this what it is. But I think the question is going to be, who is this vehicle for? Because a lot of the things about the vehicle with the technology is very Gen Z, but also they kind of want to appeal to an older type of, you know, old money kind of customer when it comes to the luxury inside. And they hit both marks very well. It's just about finding the right customer who can appreciate this. The only problem though is that for that kind of customer, they're probably going to use a chauffeur, a driver, a manong driver. And I can totally see a manong driver getting overwhelmed by the technology because the learning curve in this is actually quite steep. You have to spend time to get used to all the features, all the nuances of the vehicle to be able to use it safely and effectively. Now for the pricing, because you see, this one retails for 6.3 million. There are two other variants. One is a lower grade version, which is under 6 million, around 5.6. There's also the higher grade variant, which is a BEV with a large 100 kilowatt hour battery, which retails for around 6.5 million thereabouts. So they're giving you all these options, whether you want a range extender EV series hybrid with the plug-in capability, or you want to go full EV. You can definitely choose what your flavor is of Aito M9 by checking out what QSJ has at their showroom. But you guys let me know in the comments below what you think of the M9. Is it a hit for its intended target market? Or is it going to be something that you're gonna look at it, maybe not for me, maybe I'll still go for old world luxury? You guys let me know. Thank you for watching. This is Vince of AutoIndustriya.com.